So given we're kind of shifting mindsets from going from the agency type of perspective where we're building custom projects for different people, I'm really going to focus in on building the construction project, which I want to get as many of the key components as possible. Obviously, we can still do the outreach to pre-existing projects, but as far as what we're actively coding, we're going to actively code on the construction side, unless there is someone who reaches out and they say, hey, send me that fund distributing contract. So I'm going to share my screen real quick. A little out of breath from running upstairs, but I will show you guys what I got as far as a template. Okay. So before I even get into this, I just want to kind of explain a little bit as far as why I'm showing you this in the first place, because there's going to be a lot of people who want to start a business and they're going to be like, oh, I don't want to tell anybody about my idea. I don't want somebody to steal it. You got to sign an NDA to see what I'm working on. Well, let me tell you this. People who are in higher status than you, who have achieved more than you, they're gonna look at you talking about them signing an NDA and they're gonna be like, what type of track record do you have that like it maybe I'm not wording this properly, but it should make sense that you sound just completely unreasonable asking for an NDA when you don't have anything to show for your work. So what we're doing instead is we're putting everything we've got out there and we're going to allow people to come see what we've got. And if they really like what we're working with, then we can talk about some collaboration. So I broke down as much as the core components as possible, just given I need to have a clear mindset as far as what we need to work on. So for the main components, there's really four. There's going to be the code, the collaboration, the content, and then obviously the capital that we raise from a successful mint. So the main thing that I need to work on right now is getting the code set up because we're going to be focusing on the collaboration. We're going to start building the relationships now, but we're really going to get things solidified probably around, I would say, like March, April time. So that way we can launch this project during the summer. So the um the smart contract, this is something that we've already got set up. We both have the fund distributing contract as well as just standard ERC 721 token contracts. The front end as well, this is fairly simple. We already built a place that someone can go in, learn about a project, and then go to mint one of the NFTs. So the next things that we're going to need to work on is going to be the verification wall. So this will be the the front end that somebody arrives to when they're looking to interact with the project forums. So this will read someone's wallet, be able to identify whether they are holding one of the NFTs within the project that allows them to access the forums. And from there, once it's verified, they can go in, they can enter the community chat, the community resources, et cetera, et cetera. Now, from there, group forums, like I said, this will have chats for people within the network to be able to communicate. There also may be some educational content from people who are experts. The main thing, though, that I'm thinking will be the greatest value is going to be having live calls where we have industry experts come in. They're going to talk about projects they're working on, and they're going to allow other people in the network to ask them questions. So that's kind of the idea that I have for the group forums. I know Discord is something that people do use, and I believe you can actually integrate the verification wall to have this work with Discord. I still need to verify everything going into this, but that's kind of the idea as far as the group forums. The funding application, this is going to be where people who own the NFTs, it'll be another verification wall, but once they've been verified, there'll be three pools of capital available. So we may have 100 million set aside for projects that are over eight figures. We may have another 100 that's set aside for projects between 1 and 10, and then we'll have another, let's say, $80 million set aside for people who are doing projects of $1 million and less. So this way, it's competitive in the sense where you're competing with other people who are doing projects on the same size and same level as you versus, all the big players only getting funding and then nobody else who's just starting off getting anything accessed as well. We'll have it so that whether you're very established in the space or you're just getting started, there's a lot of value for both um, sides of the spectrum. Now, the last thing is going to be projects ongoing, and this will be how we track funding and projects for for the network after we've already spent the capital for them to be in the process. So the reason this is going to be important is, when it comes to private equity, the biggest mistake you can make is not deploying capital. And so once we have projects ongoing and we have capital deployed, when projects are completed, we want to make sure that we are deploying that capital again in a very rapid succession, so we're not having money just sitting on the sidelines. So these are kind of the main components as far as the code that we need to build: the verification wall, the forums, the funding application, and a project's ongoing map. Still trying to figure out how to actually name these, but we have the idea in our head for essentially what they're supposed to do. Now, as far as collaboration goes, Gary, the numbers guy, that is my dude. He has been by far, honestly, the most influential person I've met. I look at the world very differently now, having learned from him. He's the guy who's taught me about numerology and astrology, and been able to learn about how to apply this into the real world. So he is very, very well connected to influencers, both in Miami as well as politicians in the US. He would be the guy who I could go to if I say I need X, Y, and Z influencer to be able to back a project. So the idea here is we partner with Gary. We do some sort of collaboration where he's going to help put together the team that would be launching the project. And the goal would be to have Fresh, Walter, as well, helping with networking. And this would be for the use of getting private money lenders, crypto influencers, builders, and crypto whales involved. And then we would have a kind of like a face as far as like an industry expert. And I'm thinking Justin Waller is going to be a good guy for that, given he has both the influence and the knowledge on the construction side. So from there, that's kind of the idea for collaboration. And this is kind of the succession we would go in, just given crypto influencers. If I'm successful with my idea as far as sending these messages, seeing who would use the fund distributing contracts, hopefully we can partner with people who've launched successful projects themselves. They would know crypto whales, and Gary and Fresh, those would be my guys for helping acquire private money lenders. I'd also, honestly, I wouldn't mind going to builders in person in Tampa or in Miami or just around Florida and individually approaching people to market. We're going to have to play around with strategy, but the idea is we want to have a network that is highly valuable, given there would be industry experts as well as people with a lot of capital that they could lend. Because the reason we would want to have private money lenders and crypto whales is these would be the people who fund projects that wouldn't be funded by the network pool, what's raised by the mint. So that would allow us to do more projects than just what's able to be funded from the initial capital raised by the project itself. Now, as far as creating content, Gary would also be the person that I would learn from as far as how to market things. And I'm thinking the best spaces are going to be Twitter, LinkedIn, and IG as far as marketing the project. And we would funnel eyes from these platforms into a pre-launch forum. And this is where we give announcements as far as the mint, whitelisting objectives, et cetera, et cetera. And then from there, you guys can see what we would be doing with the capital post mint. So that's pretty much the main components. Like I said, we would be looking to group these pools, probably have 3 pools individually for different size projects. And from there, it's pretty straightforward. The main utility of the project is going to be funding construction for people in the space. So I got to get running. I got to go Uber, but this is kind of just a brief overview of what we're going to be working on. Like I said, main parts are the code right now for January, and from January we will start scaling as far as the people that we are partnering with. So I'm pretty excited about this project. I think we can really do some interesting stuff this year. I've always liked architecture, and so I think it'd be really cool to be able to fund projects that would help build homes, build apartments, build buildings that can facilitate both residential and commercial use. So if you guys are interested in this project, seeing where we take it, seeing what we do with it, make sure to stay updated. And with that being said, I will see you guys on the next video. Peace.